Welcome to another episode of the Creative Leadership Podcast. My name is Arne van Oostrom, and the Creative Leadership Podcast is brought to you by Blue Sky Republic. Blue Sky Republic, where the sun always shines, the sky is blue, and the possibilities are endless. And yes, this sounds like a tacky commercial. All right, so moving on. I'm talking to Silvia Baroni on the show, and Silvia is a very special lady. She made a big impression on me when she attended one of my training programs called Radical Creative Thinking and Doing. And I always felt that we were never radical enough. We could have pushed her a lot further. And this interview kind of explained a lot to me because she grew up playing professional tennis, and that's a really tough world. She was used to being challenged all the time, and she kind of took that attitude with her in her today, the work she does today. So it explained a lot to me. She grew up in this tough environment, but then everything changed. So that's a really fascinating story. It's about change. It is about adapting. So, here we go. Enjoy.
I see myself like a courageous explorer. If I think about my past and still the decisions and actions that I still do today, doesn't matter private or business life. Courageous because I went for situations where was totally new, and I did not know where does it bring me. It's just a feeling. I go for it. It's not just a tummy feeling, but it's just I take a decision to go for something that I know and change my life, change my job, you name it. And that's why I would say courageous explorer, because I think since in my life, when I stopped to play professionally tennis, I needed to explore much more. The tennis was a huge part of my life for 12 years, but that was a part, that was really focusing on just on that. As soon as I stopped to do that, for different reasons, then I exploded as a person to go for. I want to know more. I want to try more than that.
So, okay, hold on. So, because I hear a lot of things that I'm really curious about. One, obviously, it's tennis, because I didn't know that about you. So, but it's like, oh, really, professional tennis? So, I think a lot of people are like, did she just say she played professional tennis? So that's interesting. Obviously, also the courageous and exploring and changing your life and following your gut feeling or your tummy feeling. But I'll just go back a little bit to the tennis, because when did you start playing tennis?
I was 6 years old.
You're 6 years old.
Yeah.
Why?
I was 6 years old, and 9 years old I started my first tournament.
So really? Because 6 years old, you can't even, my son...
the racket was bigger than me,
Yeah, right, exactly, right. So I was like, how can you swing a racket when you're 6? Where did they come? Is that your parents? Did they play tennis?
Yeah, my father. My father was passionate about sport. Mm-hmm. He tried hard with my brother, but my brother was not the sportive one as he expected. Uh-huh. Then after 10 years comes the second one, me. And he tried. As soon as I could do something, he tried with me to make sport. Yes. And mine was tennis in a way.
Oh, but it didn't really matter? Or it didn't matter which sport? It wasn't specifically tennis, or it could have been anything?
My father was coming from soccer. He was playing soccer. Mm-hmm. Of course, soccer for a woman was not the sport at the time.
Sure, yeah.
And I think he just chose tennis. I don't know why. That was just coming. It was already in that ambient, my father, after soccer in a way. So that's why maybe he said, okay, let's give it a try this way.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And so you were 6 years old. So you started getting tennis lessons, and then you said you were 9 when you did your first tournament.
Yeah,
right?
I
That's my
started
son
really,
now.
really early.
I cannot imagine my son doing a tennis tournament. He's 9 years now, so I have to have a serious conversation with the guy. Like, you should have like tournaments. What are you doing with your life? So 9 years old, and then because that's 3 years of tennis lessons, and then your first tournament. But was your father very? I mean, was it, or were your parents very strict in you have to go to tennis lessons? Is it, or is it, what, did you enjoy it? Was it something that you're like, yeah, this I really, were you really good at it straight away, or did you win your first tournament?
I think at the beginning, when you start so small, it's a sport. It's a sport that you start to do it. You don't really think about that becomes something serious. But making tournaments, it means also the local challenges that you have there. The different clubs they organize, and I was just put inside. I mean, I was so young that I didn't really decide to do that. Of course, was my father pushing in that direction because he wanted to say there is something that I assume, and I was good. I was good in a way. I was technically really good, I think. And then when I was 14 years old, again, there was this decision in the family to put me in this professional club for tennis player. And that changed my life completely because I was turning completely. So 8 hours tennis and in the evening studying. So that was my day.
All right. So now, all right. So your school went to the evening and the sport went to the day, because it was basically, that was your life.
Yeah.
Wow. So 8 hours of tennis every day. Like, yeah, well, this is like with a break, maybe a break every now and then.
Yeah, I have, we go a bit far in the past, but I have really good memories. Like, I was also having time that we changed the club place to near to the seaside to have different kind of trainings, also from athletics point of view. So I was going 6 a.m. in the beach, I have a training, then start to play tennis, then in the evening study. I mean, it was an amazing experience. It was pretty hard with the school because the system was not aligned to have a kind of people that they have sport first and then school after. So I was studying privately and then having every year an exam that I had to pass to be allowed in the school system to be recognized. Right. I reached this and that. Yes. Right.
So that was hard, but also, do you look back at that with sort of a positive feeling, or was it more like hard and tough?
It's both.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. So what were the good parts? What was the thing that you think back of and say, oh, that I really enjoyed?
I think was this chance to express yourself completely, focusing on something that you can see results or not. So it's like continuously challenging yourself, but also have the possibility to improve yourself. Also to travel at the time, because I was traveling a lot to make tournaments. Right. And it was a kind of life that, I mean, for me it was normal because I started so early that was the kind of life that I knew. And I enjoyed it. And I was inspired by seeing myself having progress in that part of my life. Of course, and I think it's good. I didn't miss other stuff because I didn't know it. So having friends in this kind of sport where you play alone against the other,
right? Sure, yeah.
It's really, really hard to make friendship, for example. It's not possible. I mean, even if you are so young, I mean, maybe when you are 25, around 30, it's a different kind of mindset that you have also with other people.
Is it because people are always also your rival?
Yeah.
Is that really? So because although you're training together, you're still like, I need to beat you. Yeah. All right.
It's always there. It's always there. And even with the trainer, it's really hard to keep the trainer because in this kind of sport, you have to play and you have to win. If you're not able to play because maybe you have a problem with the back, as it happens on, you're out. You're suddenly out. And that's really hard in that sport when you start.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I see that. It's so that must have had. So are there things? And again, so I'm making a big leap now but I'm really curious about this because this is so impactful in your young life. And I'll come back to it because I want to know kind of what happened after and what the transition was. But I'm curious to hear if you recognize sort of things now in your life now, the way you kind of the things you do now and the way you do things now that are connected to that experience. So what it would do, what you've experienced there, could be things like the focus on and performing, and but also the problems with friendships. And I mean, when you're so young, I mean, did that kind of? Do you recognize things now? Did you say, oh yeah, that's because I learned that there or experienced that at that time?
Yes, I think I do recognize some stuff. I must say I started to recognize really late, so a few years ago, probably because I also needed to make peace with myself with that period, because it was a really hard cut when I stopped. I'll explain you also later why. But what I recognize today, of course, it's endurance. So I'm able to set a goal for myself and go for it till the end. Doesn't matter what. And I able to keep myself on track. And if I see something that is valuable for me or makes me to make a next step or next learning, there is nothing that is going to stop me. That's for sure. Because of this, people, they tend also to say to me, you're not a team player. I think it's not true. I do love to play in a team because I missed it so much. But of course, I have a louder voice in the team because I'm not afraid to say what I think or to try out stuff. I don't need permissions to do that. So
is that something you connect back to your tennis experience?
Yeah.
Because you always had to fight for yourself.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. Even if you have a trainer, you have to pop up. You have to make yourself better every day. There is no magic formula. You really have to do it by yourself, even if someone is supporting you, but it's up to you.
Because you're being judged all the time, every training, every game. It's always about
every ball that you touch.
Exactly. Every ball that you touch.
Exactly. Yeah.
That sounds very heavy.
Kind of.
Yeah, but is it so? Are you very conscious about that period that you still have that in your system? Are you conscious about that? Is that something you kind of connect to? Like, yeah, that's something is that a feeling that you still can kind of sort of sum up in a way? Like yes, I'm driven because it's like being in the match or something, or just like training for a match, or so keep the eye on the ball.
I mean, also the high competition that you have for such a long time is inside of you, and I think I am competitive as a person. It could be positive and negative, both sides. I mean, competitive means you can count on me if you want to reach something, because I'm not going to give up. But also competitive, it could be that I'm maybe too much pushing sometimes. So I think so.
So okay, so now we go back to the tennis, and because I'm really interested in kind of those connections, because but like you already said, it's only been a few years ago that you started realizing sort of the impact it had on you, and you have to kind of somehow give that a place in your life. But when was it because you had an injury because you said maybe was it your back that you were pushed out? Yeah.
Yeah.
So what happened?
I had to stop because I had this in the wrist, exactly the one that I was using to play with the racket. So from one day to the other one, I stopped. It was like shocking. And at the time, they promised me they could come back to play. So I had to make a surgery at the time. And just to let you understand, I mean, for that surgery, I was training myself to get 10 kilos more because I knew that I would lose all these kilos of muscles, but I needed to be back in business after 3 months.
Right. Yeah.
It really was, I want to come back, so I'm going to go back. But that never happened.
Really?
And it was a shocking process to realize that life is a way you're not competing anymore there. You're not having any more to do with that. So now what? And I was 18 years old. From one side, it was pretty good because 18 years old, you can, there is the next part of your life or stage of your life, is university.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it was perfect at that point, honestly speaking, to stop, because then I could step in the next stage without so many problems, let's say.
Yeah.
But it was hard to accept.
Yeah. Because you really wanted to go back.
Yes, and that was also the life that I knew. That was what I was. You were making mentally also certain kind of projection of yourself. How do you see yourself? You need to do that if you want to.
Yeah, exactly.
To reach some goals and then so on. So and that the projection was not anymore there. So I never thought about plan B.
Right. No tennis.
I never thought about it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So like. Right. So
okay.
you pictured yourself, your future, it was always involving tennis. So there was always this, you were a player, it's sports. That's you're going to be this athlete. That's what you're going to do. Right. And then all of a sudden, that's really, because that's really radical, obviously. And also at an age, yes, it's actually, in hindsight, I can imagine it is a good time, because yes, you can kind of then build another life. If it would have been 5 years later, it might have been really more difficult. But at the same time, you're also young still, so you had this plan, and all of a sudden that's a very radical cut right there. Like, no, different. I don't think a lot of people will experience that, because usually things go in sort of a flow, and maybe it goes the wrong direction. But it's not like, it's almost, but it's because there's an injury, and then everything changes. So that's a big moment in your life, in your young life. So what happened? What happened there? Did you know, how long did it take for you to kind of say, oh, well, for instance, you had to go to university. So did you know where to go? What happened?
At the time, I remember I also thought about, okay, what can I do also to stay in the tennis area? And there was only one way that could be the one to become trainer.
Right. Okay.
I was evaluating that, but honestly speaking, at the time I was so eager to play, but not to teach others, that I did not saw myself in that position. And then it came out I remember some sports club that they wanted to have me as an athlete, like running the 400 meters, all this stuff, because legs were working well.
Right. Yeah.
But also there, I think I was too, how can I say, also too, have it in German. Sometimes I mix the words. Stolz. I didn't want it too
proud.
Too proud, exactly. I was too proud to say yes to another sport. I don't know. I was a tennis player at that point. So this is what I remember of myself at the time, why I didn't go for that. Maybe 5 years later, I would say, why you didn't do it, But yeah, then maybe it was also a way for myself to really, okay, that's the cut, and I want to close the chapter, and
Right.
I start a new chapter. That's it. And then I started to think about, okay, what I want to study. And because of my problem in the hand, even if that I tried to go inside the physiotherapy to study physiotherapy, I had two things: physiotherapy or marketing. I mean, like, okay, whatever.
Where did marketing come from?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't remember, but that was the two choices that I did at the time.
Wow.
And because you had to make tests, exams to go inside, I said, okay, the ones that win will win. Let's say so a bit more.
All right. So
the destiny, what brings to me, and then won marketing.
Right. You don't remember where the interest in marketing came from?
I don't know I think it was about also in the city where I was living. I was checking, of course, what was a possibility.
Right.
And marketing communication was something a bit more in the creative direction that maybe I was looking for. So something more creative, not that too high level or to focus on specific topics, but I wanted to open up a bit, and that I thought about. That's it. Because the other focus, physiotherapy thing, was coming also from my experience having physiotherapists during my tennis life, that they were helping me a lot. So
okay, so what you're saying is that you had a choice of something that was very also a little bit part of the world you came from, but also very focused, or something that was really broad and wide and could go anywhere. Yeah. Right. So that's an interesting choice. Like, also because it's more like, whoever wins, it's like, I'll try both and let's see who chooses me. And like, okay, let's go marketing. Okay, that's interesting. So, because that is very different, because then all of a sudden that's like very general. Like marketing can be, especially now, obviously, what is marketing? I mean, what is the thing? So what is your, so what is next? So you went to school, and so what happened? Did you like immediately thought, yeah, this is great, or did it take some time to get used to this? Because you were also not used to going to school that way, right? Because you were always you were at school at night and you were doing sports during the day, or
yeah, exactly. Well, I enjoyed a lot the university time, I have to say, because it's a different time of making school, because you are more self-paced. You know that you have to do your exams, you have to learn your stuff, you have to prepare yourself. So I liked it a lot. It was enough freedom in that space of studying at university that I enjoyed at that time. I also felt, yes, the topics were a bit too bright at the point. Like I said, okay, what will happen after? I always have this, I think, mentally, these steps like, okay, what's next? Because maybe I was always happy to reach next things to do, And I think the exploring phase started at that point. And I wanted to have something a bit more practical at the point. And also I was studying beside also graphic design, just because I wanted to match marketing topics with something a bit more hands-on also.
So on the side, so next to marketing, you started studying graphic design at a school also, official educational program at the same school or a different school? Or
No, it was not a university program. It was like a school of, I think, was 6 months.
Okay.
That you could do beside, yes.
Yeah, because you were so used to being so focused or so hard work, you could just do another program next to your university.
Exactly.
Yeah, because
I was also working in the summer. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, of course you were. Yeah, I can see. I understand. Yeah, I see that.
It was totally normal,
Yeah, of course, because you've always been working really hard, so you had too much freedom. You had to fill it in with stuff to do, like other. So, but that's really cool. I mean, that's a great combination. Now, I mean, maybe then as well. I don't know anymore. I can't remember what the kind of the status quo was at the time. But now that's a really cool, okay, understanding visualizations and understanding the sort of the practical side of design and also sort of the marketing combined. I mean, that's really cool. So you were going through this, and you liked school because it gave you enough freedom, and also you were interested in doing other things on the side. You thought you wanted to mix graphic design and marketing. Why did you think that was a good idea? First of all, what drove you to think that? Because do you have like is there other people around you that are in graphic design, or where were you exposed to kind of that side of design? Do you know?
I think in part become something clear to me that I wanted to have something more practical to use or to give a kind of outcome at a point. I was also interested in everything that was around creativity for me at the time, whatever it means for me, creativity.
Why was that? Because
I think it's related probably to my brother, because my brother at the time he was studying and doing theater, so he's an actor.
The one who doesn't like sports. He was really bad, the lazy brother.
It's not today. It's not lazy at all.
No,
but at
kidding.
the time,
Exactly,
the time he was interested in theater. Yes.
Right. So okay. So he started doing theater, and that kind of, what did that do for you?
I don't know. I think it opened up to me topics and ways to do things that I didn't know. I mean, theater is so personal. It is really about creativity, improvisation, even if you have something to follow. But and it's so emotional.
Right.
And I remember the passion that he had in that topic.
It's like tennis.
Yeah, I mean, he tried hard for a long time, but it was really, really hard business and really hard market to pop up and make it a job. And then I understood, okay, I want to find my passion too again. So what's my next passion? And I felt, okay, what is creativity? Graphic design, I liked it a lot. I think I've always been interested in art generally. Something that I always followed. And I tried in my way to get near to that topic in a way.
When you graduated, did you have like a specialization that you started focusing on within the whole marketing kind of bandwidth? What was there a focus that you were choosing?
Well, at the time, there was this bachelor program of 3 years, and then it was up to you if you want to go on with like 2 years of master, the famous specialization that you are talking about. Yeah. And I remember I was pretty sure that I did not want to make a master. Okay. I wanted to go to work.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
As soon as possible.
Oh, really? Why?
Because I don't know. It was clear for me that I wanted to be independent, and I did not want to, let's say, waste too many years into studying. But I want to step into this world of work, what that it means, and how it does look like, and how can I again reach a progress in that world. Because I said, okay, checkpoint, I have my bachelor, I'm happy with that. I don't need to go on with that. I want to go for the next.
Okay. And what was next? What happened?
The next, that was a roller coaster, the next.
All right, go. Let's go.
I started these jobs like marketing department, naming agencies and so on. I think at the first period of my job life, I changed job every 6 months, because
every 6 months,
I'm not happy with that. Because for me it was too less. I wanted to do more. I wanted to learn more. I wanted also to earn more. So it was like pushing in a direction, until I joined this German company that had this marketing department in Italy. And that was my longest time ever in a company, 4 years. And then I saw myself, okay, now you stay calm, Silvia, you stay for a period of time and learn the job and stay here and see what happens. So that I did. So that was okay. But I experiment jobs between really doing graphic design to making social media at the time was really few things, or newsletter and this stuff, or even projects for like making interior design for exhibitions or museums. That I liked it a lot. It was really, really creative, but I didn't feel okay. It's not a position that will bring me to a kind of next level. So I need to go inside a bigger company. That's why I went to this German company that had also an office in Italy.
Mm-hmm. I mean, but that period where you were kind of working in agencies and departments, and you kind of were, was it sort of? I mean, was it? I mean, it sounds very restless. It sounds very like, this is not enough. It's more. I should need more. But in a way, was it? How do you see that now? Was it just also a learning, like a sort of a way to start understanding where you would fit, and because, I mean, I do. It resonates with me in the sense that. You're looking for something, but you don't know what you're looking for, and so you're going to have to kind of try, especially if you haven't. I mean, these are your first jobs, so you don't know. Right? So you go work for an agency, you have no clue. From the outside, you're going to think, "Oh, this looks really cool, really nice," but in the inside, usually totally different with every company, by the way. So you have to kind of learn what it is like to work and to do a job and then obviously get the opportunities and the sense that you can grow and et cetera, et cetera. But so how did you, I mean, was it a restless period, or were you really conscious of what you're looking for, or you just didn't know what you were looking for, or what was it? Why were you moving all the time? I know that it wasn't enough, but did you know what would be enough? Like more money? Yes, sure. But other things?
Sure. Of course, it was a learning process to see where I can see myself in a job environment or in a job topic, what to do exactly. I think was also a research from my side, which is the team that I like to work with.
Okay.
Because from
team,
tennis,
you mean
the
also, people?
People. Mm-hmm. Yeah. From tennis, I learned. I mean, it was me. I think it was me and my trainer. That's it. But of course, in the job environment was a much more higher bunch of people together. And my question, okay, where I do feel myself comfortable, also appreciated, and where I can bring also knowledge or myself there, and so on. So I think was also research to finding an environment where I could get inspired and I could also inspire others. So that was a research, of course, and also balancing, of course, the compromising between you do have to make tasks during the day, but also you can also maybe create something along the way. So.
But yeah. When we started the conversation, you talked about being courageous and an explorer and following your sort of your gut feeling. Is that also where that happened? Because I mean specifically when you are starting your career and doing jobs, just quitting. I mean, is that where you felt like, okay, I want to do something else and I move on, and is that where you feel that you needed to be courageous to do so?
Yes, I think at the time also all this the decisions was also discussed in a way in the family. So I'm, my brother, my father, and my mother were not always happy that they changed. Probably so often at the beginning, but in a way it worked out because I was never without a job. That was really important for them. So I managed to compromise what they were expecting from me, and from the other side,
sure. But your father,
my feelings.
Your father must have been actually, yeah, that's also interesting because your father obviously must have been very sad that your tennis career didn't happen because he was almost there with one of his children. You almost was that a big thing for him too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Took a lot of years to make peace between us, I think.
Oh, really? Because he blame you for that?
I mean, he invested a lot.
Sure.
In that, in different ways.
Okay.
And it was difficult at the time to. Yeah, I think he for him was also chapter closed, but he was not ready for that. For me, because I was really in the middle, it was easier to say, okay, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone, and I need to go next.
Yeah.
And I think
your wrist just didn't work anymore, right?
Yeah, sure. I had it every day, so for me it was clear.
Yeah, exactly.
For him, took a while before to accept it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And what about your mother?
I don't know. I think my mother was at the time was like. So my father was deciding, and she was not playing much against it. Even if today I would love that she would do it. So to hear more her voice in that decisions, because also, as my brother says, we got took away from each other. So, I mean, we have 10 years between me and my brother.
Yeah.
And that time of our life could be really, really different if the decision would be made in another way.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny or sad things is I stopped to play tennis. I came back home and my brother went to live in Ireland. So like we didn't cross each other really. And to think about it now, it's sad, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, of course, because you were away playing tennis and being doing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and 10 years is exactly that. Yeah. Which is something you can't change. So it's but I can imagine that you could kind of imagine a scenario where it would have been different, but then you don't know, right? So it's also, I mean, things happen. It resonates a little bit with me because my children, they're not, the difference it's 6 years, and they do, I mean, so because they are lazy and they don't do any professional sports or anything. My daughter's 14 now. Mm-hmm. My son's 8, and so but this idea of that, where they're always saying things like, in 5 years' time, so my daughter, because she's 14, she says, well, for 5 years' time, I'm going to move out. I'm going to be somewhere else. And so my son would be then the only kid at home. And there's this interesting, this is for me also as a parent, it's like, they're not really, they're growing up together, but also not, because they're in totally different stages in life. They're living together, but even although they live together, my daughter has a completely different kind of interest in life. I mean, it's she's a teenager. Everything's totally different. My son is still, he's still a kid, and so their interests are also not aligning. So even though they live together in the same home, they're not aligned at all, and also their rhythm of life is totally different. So I think also, I really hope that. So even though they live together in the same home, I really hope that later in life, they will actually, build a sort of a relationship based on friendship, and because that's not always, even if you live together, it doesn't always happen, because you're somewhere also a bit of rivals in a way, because they're always like, why can't he? When I was his age, I was not allowed to do that. Why? Oh, it's just because I'm a girl, right? So when I would have, he's going to be able, blah, 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 blah. So like, and we're like, no, it's, I don't know. And so I have my sister's only 3 years older than I am. And I actually I don't really have a very strong relationship with her, which is actually also very sad. So I'm just saying that there's hope.
Yeah, absolutely.
Relationships starts also after. Sorry, it just that kind of because it connects to something that we experience here as well. A little bit, they're totally different than your family, obviously, but still somewhere related. So your brother was in theater, because I kind of you didn't say it directly, but it sounded like he didn't really make it in theater, or is he still trying, or is he doing something else now?
No, he tried for a period of time, for some years, and he was also making some tours with some shows that tours could be 3 or 6 months, and then stops, and then the question is what's next. So it was he enjoyed a lot the time, and I remember also enjoyed to watch him and go there, but also remember that there was the problem, because at the time he was, I think, 24, 25, I don't remember. So also from my parents, the pressure of questioning, this is your life, you need to get a job that is stable. And with this pushing him at a point, I think he left and he went for another job, for another life, because it was not possible to have this constant during the year, let's say.
Okay. What's he doing now?
Yeah. Now he's a sales marketing manager for a fashion brand.
Marketing, okay.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's you can do a lot of stuff. There's sales, marketing, trainings, new customers. So it's really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of theater there too. So
it's really good.
Yeah,
it's really good connecting with people, honestly speaking.
Exactly. I think theater. I mean, I have a background there in theater, mainly comedy, but being able to be on stage and connect to people and present yourself and kind of that whole. That's if I could have it my way, I would teach every kid theater lessons. Every kid should go to theater class and the rest of their life for as far as I care, because I think that's such a amazing, wonderful skill to have, and it gives you so much confidence. Okay. So we're still at you were in this messy period. At least it feels a little messy period of jobs, and no, this is not it. But I want more. I want different things, bigger, better, more money, more interesting things to do, and also because you are clearly someone who you have a focus and you can really push yourself. And now obviously there are parents who say you need to have a job. Come on, stable job. You need to have a job, and it does. So I'm thinking, I'm a parent. I'm thinking, what am I?
What are you doing?
What am I doing?
You're saying the same?
No, not at all. No. So I'm like the opposite. I'm like, I'm a school dropout. Okay. Listen, I'm a school dropout. I'm like that middle part of your life where you say, we did all those jobs and try. That's basically my life. It's like that's everything I've ever done. Like just searching. No, not that. No, that. Very restless, but not something you might want to do the most of your life, but it's also part of, I know. So maybe that's what I'm looking, because there's also part of that which is exciting. And so then you went to this more, the German company that had the office in Italy, where you said, okay, hold on, now go and you have to stop yourself, and I want to know this job. You have to stop and focus on this. That's awesome, because that's something I've ever been able to do say like stop, focus on this. But it also sounds a bit like you had to kind of not literally. You said you have to stop yourself. Was that so? What was it? First of all, the job, the task that you had to do. What was the thing you had to learn, and what did you learn?
So in that part, I was doing everything around also making layouts for packagings or for displays of the products, because that was a company making products for pets, cats, dogs, you name it. So it was really fun, the product itself.
Yeah.
So had a lot to do with managing everything, designing, packaging, but also trade fairs for them.
Right. Were you art director? Was that sort of the?
No, I never got named art
director.
No
time. Well, it sounds like an art director.
I was marketing manager, Max.
Okay. Well, it sounds like, you're the marketing manager, but you're pretending to be an art director.
Whatever. Yeah, I mean, that was so creative and so fun to have to do with that kind of problem. I must say also the people in that team are still friends today. I had so much fun. I have to say.
So, but that helped because you know, one of the things you said was also, you were looking for people to work with. So you not only did you say, "Oh, stop! I need to learn this job," but also there were the right people around you. So it was fun. Right? Okay. Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know, and also they were fun, but also they were the right companion or fellows, you name it, because we were also making so many stupid things like videos with each other, because it was also one of my colleagues was connected to theater as well. He was making improvisation, and we were making so much fun in the office as soon as we could with the product. So I remember that pretty well. And the funny thing is, after 4 years, I also choose to change because that people also decided to go away.
Right.
Actually, we decided to go away almost in the same day.
Same day.
If I remember well, we did the announcement all together. I don't remember.
Really?
Yeah.
So the whole team said, "Well, we're leaving."
How we go?
Really? That must have been a shock to whoever was your boss.
Yeah, we wanted to shock a bit the boss, to shake it a bit, because we were not aligned in everything. But yeah.
Well, that worked.
Yeah, probably yes.
Wow, that must have been. But because you weren't happy, or the team, you felt there was no alignment. There was no. It could have, things could have been better, and it just didn't work out.
The company was owned or managed by the families, so the brother and the sister, and they were really, really different from each other, and also from a leadership style. And
cats and dogs.
Yeah, exactly. So it was difficult to also see a kind of development on certain strategy topics and so on. So we wanted to maybe propose those ideas. There was a less space going on in the years,
right,
for building something new or try something new. So it was becoming more and more like stuck in their way to make the business instead of developing what's the next steps to stay in the market relevant and so on.
Right.
And as soon as, honestly speaking, as soon as I feel I cannot learn something new anymore, then it's for me the sign.
Exactly. Yeah. You're not growing. You're not getting any better. You need to kind of and nothing new is also. Okay, so all right, so you left with the whole team, like goodbye. You left, and did you already know where you would go next, or was it very spontaneous, or was it more like did you already kind of find another job, or did you know where to go?
Well, at the time also from the private side was also pretty changing a lot for me. And at the time, I got to know my actual husband, that is German.
Mm.
And I matched the way to I leave my job and but also leave my country. And
Right. That's when you left to Germany.
I moved to Germany.
Mm.
I mean, he wanted to move to Italy, but I said no. I come to Germany.
Why? Why was that?
I don't know. Was for me it was really a strong will to change, to go for something really new, something that I don't know. And from the other side, I think for him would be really difficult to adapt to the Italian culture style, to work without the language.
Right.
I mean, he got to know the Italian life by having a job in Germany. It was a perfect match.
Yeah.
But if you change completely to the Italian side, then I think it would be really difficult. And I said, okay, I raised the hand. I come to Germany. Let's do that.
It's interesting in a way that it's easier for an Italian person to adapt to the German style of things than it is for a German person to adapt to the Italian way of doing things. That's funny. Just an interesting thought, because he could have said, you can never, Silvia, there's no way you can adapt to a German way of thinking or doing. But you're like, no, that's easy.
Could be also true,
but probably, but yeah, maybe the Germans won't tell you. Then maybe that's the only thing. But the Italians will tell you, probably.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's more in your face, like that's not how we do things.
No, I think also at the time I was the one with more need to go for something new. So I was not happy with the job. So I wanted to. So in between the two, I was much more motivated, I think.
Yeah. It's funny, really. If you think about the rhythm or the pattern in your life, you went from someone who was very focused and very on something very specific, and that was everything. And then you were forced to change, which was dramatic and difficult. But after that, you started looking for these changes. So in a way, it's like, but that was a shock. You could have been someone who said, well, I really, now I get to, so I had this shock moment where I had to change everything. I get something new and I stick to this because I don't want to experience that again. But in a way, you went from someone who was very focused on just one thing to someone who's very hungry for new things. And so it became a very positive thing in your life, really, the big changes. Because now it's like, I need something new. I moved to Germany, which is, it's not always. You live in Berlin, right? Did you move to Berlin straight away? Was that the first? Where did you move to? Because that's an interesting. Because Germany is not Germany. I mean, there's a lot of things. There are a lot of differences in the regions and the cities.
I moved 5 times in Germany.
Okay, what was the first city you lived?
So the first city was where my husband was living. That was near Koblenz. Mm-hmm. But the deal was, because I was moving without knowing the language, and without having a job and so on. And then the deal between us is, okay, let's give us a bit of time, but as soon as we can, we move to the next step, whatever it is, but we don't stay there. So, and so we did. So I made this intensive course of German for 6 months. And I mean, it was really hard for me also to accept myself to not to have a job, a fixed job, and have a kind of, okay, so now what? Mm-hmm. But I mean, it took a while. So after 8 months, I got my first job in Germany. It was then in another city, in Bayern. Mm-hmm. And we went for that. I mean, also him was pretty amazing to be so flexible and also with me, supporting this kind of changes as well. And I must say, because I was never expecting to start at a certain level in Germany. I just wanted to see, okay, well, how does it work there? I want to step into this market, how and then just start. And in fact, I just started like in a stage, the first job, even if I had already, I don't know, 10 years of experience in work, It was like someone goes out from the university and starts to work, with that kind of position. And it was fun because I started the way. For me, it was totally fine. I was happy to step inside the system, and after 3 months, they give me a normal contract. So It was really nice. I mean, it was really nice. Yeah.
Okay. And so then you were in Bayern?
It was in Bayern.
Which is interesting. For an Italian, because I mean, that's like the opposite of Italians, I think, somehow.
I mean, Germany is like Italy, from the north to the south, it's changed a lot.
Sure, yeah, of course.
A lot. Yeah. So this it is. I mean, I experienced Bayern. I went even more to the north, and now in Berlin. Berlin for me, it's a second home, finally.
Yeah.
I really feel home here. I have 2 homes here now. Yeah. At the time when I went to that job, that was again in the marketing field, and was a big corporate. So I was starting already from Italy. So from that company, was already a corporate. So and then started my path inside corporates, let's say. And I was in the marketing department. And then I remember that I felt in my desk by doing marketing stuff, whatever it is, stuff for sales, website, you name it. And I thought, oh my God, I think this job is going to be taken from artificial intelligence one day. I don't know. I don't feel like that that my contribution is going to be better than a computer one day. Mm-hmm. And then I said, okay, what's next? Mm-hmm. And I wanted to bring myself away from that desk. So stepping out from marketing in a way, not that. And also in a way I felt that the marketing department sometimes like it takes longer to innovate. When the products, the development, it's always pushing forward. The marketing departments, they follow, but they were never driving the company, I said, I want to step out from this desk. And then I went I call it the last sprint of my life of really studying again. And I started this digital transformation in Nuremberg, in Germany. Mm-hmm. It was like 1 year and a half, only in the weekend, so I could work and start in the weekend. And was my bet to make myself possible to or able to change the topic and the job role, let's say.
Mm-hmm. But what happened after? Because now you part of at least it also in your job title it also says that you're doing service design. So where did that happen? So you were digital transformation, and I obviously there's all these. I see the connections, but so where did that kind of language happen in that kind of direction? What happened there?
Mm-hmm. By studying, by doing this course, there was one of the topics was design thinking. And then I fell in love with that topic and I wanted to deep dive. And then I went to Amsterdam to make...
Is that when we met?
Yeah, I think it was 2017 when I did that with Mark.
Right, yeah. Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, the 1 week training, let's say, crash course to deep dive on it. And for me, it was like, okay, and now I understood like 50%, it's enough, I go for it. And I was checking for my next step to say, okay, I want to apply what I learned. How can I do that? And I also wanted to, as I said, to step out from marketing. And I got inside KUKA Robotics. And in that time, they were building up this new accelerator team for innovation, for new product services. And design thinking or service design was needed because you need to give guidelines to where to start, why we choose to do this or that first. So that was my like cold shower to start to do that job in a new environment.
Yeah. And so that's an interesting journey from starting from tennis, but it is still the drive that you have, and you sort of somehow also always trying to kind of improve yourself and look at how to develop and new things, and not being afraid to switch. So not being afraid to say, well, marketing, I need to do something else. Let's go and let's check something else out. And then you went from marketing, came to this digital transformation topic, but that then leaped into design thinking and service design. And so if you look at that, so where are you now? What is your feeling now? What are you doing now at this moment?
I think I feel that I'm a change maker today.
Change maker, yeah.
Where I am, yes. Yeah. And because I still keep with me this curiosity and way to not be afraid not to change, but to try things. I think I landed in an amazing, huge corporate where there is a lot of space if you like to do stuff and try out stuff. And it's amazing to find out also your network inside the system and try out things. I mean, this spirit in a way of courageously taking decisions or actions, I do that. And I think that the biggest outcome of that was like last year. And I started this global community inside the company, and it was really like I started, and then let's see what it brings. And today it's a huge community that before was not existing. So it's like, and that happens, I think, every time that I have the possibility to do, or I see the way or the space to do that. Before I never had really space to do that. And today I'm really happy to have that and make changes inside where I am, not just for me, but for others too.
Yeah. And do you know where you're going to go next? Is there a next already, or is it this is the thing I'm going to focus on?
No, there is not a next. The next is really for me focusing now on how the best I can bring a positive impact where I am. Could be to the colleagues next to me, could be to the client that I'm working with, or could be to the community that I'm building on. So that's strongly focusing on me, and I don't do that alone. I'm really happy also about that. So I really have people and colleagues that join me along this journey.
Right.
Just because they want, and I think it's it's really powerful.
And is that so? If you think about sort of what the most important things are that make all this happen for you right now, so that you can kind of create that this global community and do the things that you love to do, but also be successful and feel that you're kind of growing. So there's, I think what I hear. The people around you, is that the most important thing, or is it also more?
It's part of the game, but still everything that is there, or I reached out is it's also there because I don't have so much fear. Of course, when you're inside the big corporates, like there is rules, it's a system set, and it's there. I have less fear to really fit completely to the system, and in a way, I try always to push a bit forward some frames that you are in, and I like to challenge the frames where we are. Brings thinkings and things forward in a way.
Right. So to make you feel happy where you are and make you kind of successful in what you're doing, the organization should allow you that space, right? So the space that you can challenge the frameworks and the systems.
Yeah, it's that, and also the team where I am, so the department in particular where I am. I think it's cool that I'm still free in a way. So the tendency is to put you inside a topic, or that's what you have, that are your skills, and that's it. But I'm not in that quadrant. I don't know, and I like to check out different topics and projects and so on. And the teams allows also not to be only the service designer or to be only the organization designer and so on. So that's really nice. It continuously gives you the possibility to learn, to, if you want to challenge yourself. It's not a must, but if you like, go for it. And yeah, it's a freedom that is not easy to find
Exactly.
in organizations.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So it sounds like you have found a really very good spot, but also something that fits well with you, where you can be both, you can both challenge the existing system, but you can use your sort of your courageousness, so you're not afraid to challenge. And I think you need that too. I think you also need that tension, right? So it's because without that tension, it's probably going to be boring for you, right? So I think it's also something you want. You want to be able to challenge, and because that will challenge you as well. Which in my mind, it links back to your tennis, because that's that's your driver. You're going to be tested all the time. If you're not going to be tested and not be challenged, I think that's when the organization loses you, probably. So it sounds like you found a really good spot.
Yeah, sounds like it. Yeah.
All right. Well, I thank you very much for this conversation. I really enjoyed it, and it's a beautiful story. So thank you for sharing.
Thanks a lot for the invitation. I really enjoyed this as well.